because it's a different, unique culture. And I'll give you a very good example when you say stress, when you say language. When I was young, in my vocabulary, you can ask Auntie Lushani, who's here as well, we never had the word called stress. I can't remember ever going home from school or anything and saying, I'm stressed. Lushani, do you remember? Lushani and my daughter were in the same class. So this is something we've coined from the West. And now it's a big word. I'm stressed about this. I'm stressed about not packing something. I'm stressed about having to rush. Everything is stressful, but it is part and parcel of life. And it's basically, if you take Buddhism, awareness of the present moment. And just taking life as it comes. Yes, planning is necessary. But stress is something that we put in there. We think it's stressful. So these are words. This is where language plays an important role. We pick up words from different cultures and then we think about it. And then it becomes part of our vocabulary. I'm going to ask you again, what do you think of language and what is communication? Any answers? Kathawa kiyanne mokadda? Stories. That is katandara. Katha karno is? Talking. That's communicating. Is talking the only way of communicating?
No.
What else? Hand signals, yes. Sound, yes. Texting, yes, I'll come to that. Very important thing. Okay, anything else? Yes, the written language. Sign language, yes, with the deaf. I work with deaf, so children and adults, so I use sign language.
Sense.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Actually, if you take your body language, how you move, how you sit, all that is communicated. Now, when I came to this room, I was looking at some of the children. And you gave me loads and loads of information about yourself. Yes. By watching you, the way you sit, the way you ask your parents something, the way you talk to your friends, the whole setup gave me a lot of insight about yourself. I'll tell you the reason. If you meet a British or English person, what is the first question they might ask you on the train? How's the day? Or how's the life? Or more, because Britain, the weather is changing all the time.
How is the weather?
How's the weather? Are they really interested in the weather?
No.
What are they judging you? How you talk, how you say it, your accent, the way you say it. And within that 1-2 lines, they've judged you. Right? They'll say, okay, he's coming from this side, or we have what is called the dialect. You know from which part of the person comes, from the way the person speaks, the language they use. Your social background is also depicted when you answer these questions. So don't think they're just wanting to know, is it going to snow, or is it going to be sunny, or is it going to be 21 degrees? No way. They are judging you by the way you speak. And also, how you move, how you carry yourself. So these things are very, very important. Do you think so? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw one little child who came here, I won't name. It's quite happy to put both feet up on the chair and texting away, or playing with the iPhone, or whatever. And I thought, right, where are we? We are in a temple premise somewhere, and in front there's a Buddha statue. And I thought, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I thought, yes, there's a thing called a little bit of decorum, a little bit of discipline. So we have to always remember, like in Buddhism, awareness of the present moment. Where are we? We may be with our friends, but it is a religious place. So that means there's a certain sense of behavior that goes with this place. Right? Yes? Not bad. It's not bad behavior. Okay, what you do at home, can you do it here? No. The words that you use at home, can you use it here? No. The words that you use with your friends at school, do you use it at home with your parents? No. Sometimes we do, I think. Right? And I think, okay, the older ones may not. Sometimes I think the younger ones may forget, and we may use certain words. And that's when we become like one of these Mr. Men. We can be like Mr. Rude. How many of you have read Mr. Men books? You didn't like it. Even as an adult, I still love Mr. Men because they teach me to look at life in a different way. And I'm going to ask you to read one book, the older children. There's a book called The Little Prince. It's written by a French author, I can't remember, but I'll send you the name. You read it. Because when you read it, have you read it?
Yeah, I got upset.
The Little Prince? No, you're saying Mr. Men.
Yeah.
No, The Little Prince.
He got the set, actually.
The sect of Mr.
Yeah.
Men. Yeah. That's very good. The Little Prince, when you read it at different ages, you interpret it in different ways. So it's very important that you read it one day. Okay, now coming back to communication, this young man here said the senses. Yes, our body language, facial expression. Anything else? The way you stand up, your hand signals, all that. What else is communication? You said smell, yes. Personality, yes, yes. Appearance, what you dress. So there are little codes, isn't it? There's a dress code. Would you come to the temple here in a very short skirt or like something like, shall we say, the boys in a sort of a leather jacket or something and tight fitting jeans and sort of swing your hips around or sort of not bother? No. Would you?
No.
But if you're going to a little disco or a party at school or a friend's party, you'll dress differently, isn't it? So that is all that is communication. That's very, very important. Isn't it? Agreed? And the Chuti Babas think the same thing? Okay, right. So, I agree with you to a certain extent, yes, but there, as that uncle said, there is a code wherever we go. There is a code of conduct. You ask him whether he can go to a magistrate's court or any kind of court here dressed in jeans. No, there is a dress code. Now even for us working with children, we have a very strict dress code. Even if it's the hottest summer's day, I can't wear something like with two thin straps and go and meet a client. No way. And also, I'll tell you something. If you go somewhere, okay, you go to see a doctor, you go to see a clinician or a therapist, Or you go to see your teacher. Would you like to see your teacher dressed in some sort of tiny, if it's a lady, in some tiny, tiny strappy dress and with a very hot, short skirt?
No.
No. And I'll ask the girls, would you like to see a young teacher, male teacher, dressed in tight, tight-fitting jeans and a sort of a t-shirt? No. See the reaction? So we have to dress accordingly, isn't it? So that's very important. That is also communicating. Yes, yes. Your actions also communicate a lot. So I'm going to give you something, a piece of paper. I want you to write down the words that you use often. Let's see whether it's good or bad, or just be very frank. What are your first 50 words? Out of that, what do you use often at home? With your parents. First, we'll give you at home and one at school. And I'm sure shall we say, the frequency of use of that word. So that's one little assignment. And coming back to that little boy that I observed, he was seated. One thing I'm going to say, especially to the crowd here, and even the younger children sometimes, we lose our sense of communication, and partly I think the parents are also in with it, is using iPhones or Nintendo DS or whatever, iPad, and you take it with you when you socialize, when you go to other people's homes as well. And what do you see? Children on a side, texting. And they don't partake in the conversation, they don't observe the others, and to a point, at school now with older children, we are doing sessions where children cannot read the faces, the facial expressions of people, because they're so used to texting. Olden days, we had a telephone, and we would talk. Why is it important to listen to the voice?
Do you know who they are?
Yes, you identify, yes, you know who it is, whether it's a man or a woman, or it's a friend, or anything else? Very good. The tone of voice.
Do you know what you're doing?
Yes.
What?
I'm saying if you're talking over the phone or something like that, why is it important to talk instead of texting?
More easier.
Because you can
explain more.
Yes, it's quicker, but I know young people text so fast, and with predictive text, it's very quick. But do you exactly see what that person is saying? I mean, I could say, it's very difficult, but I could say it's lovely, and say, mutter under my breath, saying, what a damn nuisance that person is. But you would see it on the face. You could say, sometimes you see people here. They ask you first thing in the morning, good morning, how are you? Even before you say, I'm about to drop dead, they've moved on. Right? So these are things, it has become so, speech and certain aspects have become so mechanical. I sometimes, maybe I'm old, that's why I think so, like little robots. We just go from one thing to another. Planned everything, and the 1 second to 5 minutes here there means you get into what is called a highly stressed situation. So, but then the beauty of language is it's changing. It's not dead. Language has to change to accommodate the needs of the people at that time. So I can't use words that was used 500 years ago. But I can still use it and understand it, but keep on adding. So it's constantly changing all the time. Okay, shall we get